Well, they need to adjourn this one meeting. You want to call the next one to order? You need one more.
Okay. Where's my notes? Do I have a motion to adjourn the Board of Aldermen's?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Ayes have it. The meeting's adjourned. Thank you all for coming. No. We just went in executive, had a meeting, we come out, and we just now had to close that executive meeting. So in just a moment, we're going to start the meeting that you're here for. Oh, how about, yeah, this will really, before we start the meeting, some of us need to take a quick break. Sorry.
Clay, we're on break for just a moment. We'll be right back, okay?
I'm going to call this meeting to order. If you would, follow along with the pledge and invocation from Chief Schmidt.
Our Father in heaven, we come before thee today and just express our gratitude and our thankfulness for the land in which we live and the ability we have to govern and to make decisions that are appropriate for our region and for our city, its visitors, residents, and businesses. Father, at this time, we are especially grateful to thee for our Employee of the Month, who will be honored, and for the hard work of all staff and city leaders. Father, we ask thee now to please bless us with thy Spirit as we go forth, that we might have the spirit of discernment. Also, please bless us with safety in our travels and bless this region throughout the evening, that we will be able to handle the weather that comes our way and that no serious accidents will befall anybody in the region. We ask these things in the name of thy Son, Jesus Christ. Amen.
Thank you, Chief. Madam Clerk, we had a roll call, please.
Lucas? Denham?
Here.
Cooper?
Here.
Let the record reflect that Alderman Cooper is attending virtually. Milton?
Here.
Howden?
Here.
LeBlanc? Here. Schultz?
Here.
Your Honor, you have a quorum.
Thank you. We're going to start off tonight with some recognitions. Start with Director Amanda Ross. Will be presenting Haley Mendoza, an Employee of the Month for February 25.
It's my pleasure to recognize Haley Mendoza as the City of Branson's February Employee of the Month. The city is fortunate to have an employee of Haley's caliber, and we are proud to now have her as a part of the planning department. Haley has been instrumental in transforming the licensing process for short-term rental businesses, addressing a complex and long-standing challenge. Through her hard work and innovative approach, Branson has become a municipal leader in how these businesses are inspected, licensed, and monitored. Her efforts have directly contributed to creating a safer, more organized framework that benefits both residents and visitors who choose Branson as their designation. Haley approaches every project with a commitment to excellence, always striving to exceed expectations. She tackles challenges head-on, dedicating time to research and applying her knowledge to deliver exceptional results. In addition to her technical expertise, Haley's positivity and team spirit make her a joy to work with. She is known for organizing creative team-building activities and initiatives, often using her own resources to make these events impactful. Her kindness and selflessness inspire those around her, and she goes above and beyond to support her coworkers and brighten their days. It is with great pride and gratitude that we celebrate Haley Mendoza for her outstanding achievements and invaluable contributions to our team and community. Please join me in congratulating Haley on this well-deserved recognition.
Yeah.
Congratulations, Haley. I know that project you've been working on is a big project, and thank you so much for doing that. Second recognition, yeah, is for Mona Miller, and Mona's not in the audience with us. Hillary, would you please invite Mona to our next Alderman meeting?
I am not sure how to get a hold of her. If anybody has contact information.
Oh,
Okay, we
okay.
can do it.
Thank you. Madam Clerk, we have speakers tonight?
We have one speaker.
Oh. Please note there'll be a 5-minute limit on all items listed on the agenda. This is the public comment section of the Board of Aldermen meeting. At this time, the board will hear the citizens who have signed up in the order they are listed. Meaning number 1 will be number 1. That's right. Yeah. Please note, the clerk will let speakers know when they have 30 seconds left and a notification sound when their time is up. We ask that speakers wrap up their comments upon hearing the 30-second warning. If a speaker would like a board member to bring an item down from the consent agenda for additional discussion, please note this request during comments. Please come to the freestanding microphone to address the board. Madam Clerk, who is our one speaker?
Our one and only speaker is Gary Groman, speaking on one alderman does not speak for the city.
Hello, Gary.
Hi. Recently, during the report section of Branson Board of Aldermen's meeting, an alderman said, quote, "I'll be going back up to Jeff City to work with our senator and representatives regarding opportunities for bills for city and other issues. So I would ask other people on this dais here, if you have any interest or you would like me to convey some specific thought during those meetings, I'd be happy to collaborate with you on however you'd like to do that. But I'll be setting the date shortly as soon as I hear back from them." I wondered whether he had received authority from the board to go to Jeff City in such a representative capacity. That wonderment stems from my belief that an alderman is a member of the Board of Aldermen, and except as allowed by statute or the Branson Municipal Code or the board, has no individual power or authority to act for or represent the city outside of their participation and vote in the collective decisions of the board. It's interesting to note that the Branson Municipal Code contains both specific definition and list of duties for the position of mayor, but none for aldermen. Article 2 of Chapter 2 of the Branson Municipal Code provides for the election of 2 aldermen from each of the city's wards and establishes the board comprised of 6 aldermen and the mayor. While the chapter contains a list of duties for the mayor, except for their participation as voting members of the board and committee and other assignments contained within Chapter 2, there is no other duties for aldermen under the code. The code does not even give an individual alderman the authority to get an item on the agenda for the board to vote on without the consent of another alderman or the mayor. So I hope you can understand my consternation when one alderman representing one of 2 votes in one of 3 wards says, "I'll be going back up to Jeff City to work with our senator and representatives regarding opportunities for bills for the city and other issues." Further, he said, if you have an interest, and further says, if you have an interest or you would like me to convey some specific thought during those meetings, I'd be happy to collaborate with you on whoever you'd like to do that, but I'll be setting that date shortly as soon as I hear back from them. To me, that's ludicrous. It seems obvious. If an individual alderman can't even get an agenda item on the very agenda they vote on without the consent of at least one alderman or mayor, that no single alderman should be using the color of their office to meet with state representatives or senators in Jeff City about opportunities for bills for the city and other issues or any other city business not specifically allowed by state law, the Branson Municipal Code, or authorized by the very board they sit on. If an alderman is going to talk to anyone outside of city government using the color of their office for such access, it should happen only if authorized by state law, the Branson Municipal Code, or is voted on by the board after such proposed content of such talks is vetted in the same manner as any other item presented to the board. I would request this board consider appropriate action to make it so. Any questions?
Thank you, Gary. Oh, Glenn, you want to say something?
Yeah, that alderman is identified as Glenn Schultz, and I put out a request to my fellow aldermen if we wanted to work on any particular agenda items for City Hall, or I'm sorry, for the state legislature. I received 1 or 2 suggestions We didn't go anywhere with that in the end. I did meet with Representative Seitz. I presented specifically 3 items to him that I requested he worked on. And I made it very clear these were personal items, that I was not representing the city.
Okay. Anybody else? Thank you. Next is the consent agenda. Are there any items that any member of the board would like to have moved down from the consent agenda to ask additional questions or comments? Madam Clerk, would you please read the items on the consent agenda?
Your Honor, the items on the consent agenda are as follows. Approval of the Board of Aldermen minutes for the January 28th, 2025 special meeting and January 28th, 2025 regular meeting. Acknowledge receipt of Finance Committee minutes for the August 28th, 2024 regular meeting. Acknowledge receipt of Advisory Park Board minutes for the November 19th, 2024 regular meeting. Acknowledge receipt of monthly contract report from January 6th, 2025 to February 2nd, 2025. Final reading of Bill Number 6519, an ordinance amending Chapter 94 of the Branson Municipal Code pertaining to food truck court. Final reading of Bill Number 6520, an ordinance approving a final subdivision plat for the Summit at Branson Estates, Branson, Missouri. And final reading of Bill Number 6521, an ordinance amending Section 2-136 of the Branson Municipal Code pertaining to powers and duties of city administrator. Your Honor, that concludes the reading of the consent agenda.
Thank you. Do I have a motion approving all items on the consent agenda?
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Madam Clerk, would you take a roll call vote, please?
Lucas?
Did they make you sit by yourself?
Lucas? Didham?
Was that Clay?
Cooper?
Yes.
Howden?
Yes.
LeBlanc?
Yes.
Schultz?
Yes.
The result of the vote is 6-0, motion carries. Your Honor, this is the first reading of Bill Number 6522, an ordinance amending Section 2-201 of the Branson Municipal Code pertaining to removal of members of boards, commissions, committees, and councils.
You've heard the first reading of Bill Number 6522. Do I have a motion approving this bill?
So moved.
We have a motion and a second, and we'll get a staff report from Holly Dodge.
Good evening. This is a requested change in regards to clarification of the ability for the board, when they vote on appointments, whether it involves the mayor or not, that appointment is not for the full term. It limits it to being at will for the board. So your service on any board, commission, committee, or council is at the desire of the board. Multiple appointments that you do currently are for various terms for an extended period of time. If it is not clarified that it is at will, there could be a public property interest in that term, even though none of these are paid positions, which could then invoke a requirement for a for-cause public hearing in regards to that removal.
Should we put this ordinance up on the board? Uh-oh. Uh-oh, whoa, whoa. You're in the restroom there, Clay? That could have been embarrassing.
So as you see in 2201, the original current code is sub A, which is crossed out, and sub B, which is changed to sub D, as in Dodge.
So are there any questions or comments from the board?
Mr. Mayor?
Yes.
Okay, so I agree with this in principle. I do have a possible amendment that I'd like to discuss with the rest of my aldermen here and possibly put forth. I would like a clause that requires our city staff, really probably the clerk, to notify the person upon the two people putting them, the two aldermen putting their name forth for removal, as well as the board they serve on. And I also think that it's probably good to, in the application for which these people are applying to these boards and committees, to say that it's at will and make some allusion to this. And in concurrence with that, perhaps some language that says, that they're serving at the pleasure of the Board of Aldermen. And so that, you would want some kind of language that says, since this is at will, part of what we're saying is that you are going to listen to the guidance of the board as far as how you serve on these committees or commissions as well. So, yeah, I don't know that you'd have to make an amendment for that specific part, but I would like a specific amendment about notifying the person and the organization that they serve on.
And I believe you also wanted it in writing. My recommendation would be notice of agenda must be sent to appointee and board, commission, committee, or council to which they are requested to be removed 6 days prior to being considered by the board, to allow that time period for notification both to the entity in which they serve and the individual to which that request was.
So Hillary, did you get this amendment, or Holly, did you get it?
I think they're both proposed amendments. I don't know either of them have been made yet. So I need somebody to make one of those motions.
Can I make both of those as one amendment?
I only said one thing.
Okay, I mean, as far as both of those, I mean notifying the person and notifying their board.
Yes, that's in one sub. It would replace, it couldn't be subsection E, and I can real quick go and type that in so that you can see it, so that it is in writing, but it would read an additional subsection E, notice of agenda item must be sent to appointee, the appointee, and the board, commission, committee, or council to which the appointee is requested to be removed 6 days prior to being considered by the board.
Okay, I would like to make a motion for that amendment.
Second.
We have a motion and a second.
Mr. Mayor,
Yes.
question. If I'm reading this right, the only reason a person could be removed now would be if they missed a certain number of meetings?
No, actually, Artie, my understanding is, we have rules of what the board does to appoint somebody. There's nothing in writing that gives this board the authorization to replace somebody.
So subsection A under 2-201, was that not in the,
Yes, I'm sorry.
yeah, that was in it. So if that was in it, then that's saying that for misconduct or neglect of duty, but now we're saying just because of missing a certain number
No,
of meetings.
that does trigger it, but we're also saying it's at will. So the at will means that we can essentially remove them by the same discretion that we voted to appoint them in the first place.
Yeah. Yeah.
If that's the case, then why is it just not remove at will and nothing would be needed under D?
Artie, we wanted to also make it clear that we've had some problems with people not coming to their assigned committees and commissions. And so we wanted to make it very clear what the expectation is on attendance and how important that is. So we just wanted to itemize that too, so that we're kind of giving some definition and expectation there in a separate line.
Mr. Mayor?
Go ahead.
Just for a little bit more color, I'm happy with the removal of A, because I wouldn't be in favor of this if we left that term misconduct in there, because that is so vague and up to people's interpretations. So that still can be in our minds as aldermen when we vote to remove somebody from a committee, commission, or board, but without having that term misconduct in there, which I believe could be weaponized against someone. So at this point, it's just about an alderman's personal discretion, whether they feel misconduct has taken place, or if they feel that the person has run askant of the viewpoints of the board that appointed them, essentially.
So Haley, that you just typed what the amendment is?
She did, yes.
Yes, Your Honor, I did. And he's going to put it up on the screen, so you see it on E. Notice of the agenda item must be sent to the appointee and board, commission, committee, or council to which the appointee is requested to be removed at least 6 days prior to being considered by the board.
Can I ask for clarification on that?
Sure.
Is it before 6 days before being removed, or 6 days before appearing on the agenda, or?
Yes, 6 days prior to being considered by the board, so it would be as the agenda item. We could say 6 days prior to, so I chose that language because of what I'm doing right now, which is if you say of the board meeting, what board meeting? I put in the 6 days prior to the hearing. You could have a special meeting in which you had that consideration. So if you say 6 days prior to when it's considered, you could have a simultaneous request for a special meeting as well as an agenda item. So I didn't want to say the board meeting.
Or it would be just considered by the board.
The board can't consider
next-
something unless it's in a meeting.
It's for the board meeting or a special meeting.
I was thinking more about when it gets publicized, but I think your version protects that because of our normal sequence of agendas.
Yes, so that E refers to the request in C. All requests of an agenda item for removal shall be delivered to the city administrator in writing at least 6 days prior to the meeting by 2 or more aldermen. It mirrors that information because the notification to both the appointee and to which they serve will all simultaneously receive that notice. Because it could be more than 6 days, so I said at least.
Any questions, comments from the audience? We have to vote on the amendment.
Correct.
We don't want input on the
No,
amendment?
no, you can take input on the amendment.
Okay.
I didn't say that you had to vote.
So is there any discussion from the board before we vote on the amendment? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
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 Opposed, same sign. Ayes have it. So now we vote on the ordinance as amended.
You got it.
There might be more discussion on the whole ordinance.
Yep. Any discussion on the ordinance, including the amendment? Why did I not expect it?
Cause and effect.
Glenn, did you
Yeah.
have something?
Yeah, I was just going to say, I like the amendment. I mean, that addresses one of my major concerns. And I also like the notion of putting some effective notice in our applications and public postings for these positions, because I think we accept when we run as aldermen that we're under public scrutiny. I don't think the average appointee thinks that way, right? Because they didn't do campaigns, they didn't have to do financial disclosures, all those things. And so I think they're, a little bit probably more shocked if something like this would come up in a public light. But I do, and I know we're all cognizant of this already, but nonetheless, I remain concerned that we can put somebody's name on an agenda and it becomes a public affair. So I hope this is never abused by future Board of Aldermen. I feel we're in good hands here today, but as I always look to the future and think this isn't going to be us sitting here for all these days, it could be people with less genuine intents perhaps, that this could be abused. I think it's necessary. I agree that the elimination of that first paragraph is not only functionally better, but it cleans up the ordinance, because that first paragraph to me was way open to interpretation. And I think eliminating that and being much more direct about what can happen and what the condition of that appointee is prior to it happening makes this all now very clear.
Okay.
So I generally now, thanks for the amendment. I think it's in pretty good shape.
Any other comments or questions about the bill as amended?
I'm very pleased with the bill as amended. I would also like to just add this. I know it will be nothing to be included into the ordinance, though a huge thank you for all those that do serve on these boards because they volunteer. And I think, and I don't know what our due diligence is as a city, a board, or chairperson of the committee that the person's getting appointed to, but I think it would be great to be proactive when someone is appointed to a board, to give them a copy of the requirements to serve on that board, and just to have that discussion with them so that they're aware of what they need to do too, because they are volunteering. So I think that as a city, we should be giving them the information, thanking them. This is what we require of someone serving on that board, so that the communication's clear right up front.
Very nice.
Hey, Mr. Mayor?
Yes.
Got one more thing real quick?
Yeah.
I just want to clarify that this is not really a huge change, more a clarification. Because if you actually read the state statutes and the bylaws of some of these committees and commissions, it actually does allow for the appointing body at their discretion, the same way they appointed the people to take them off. And I just want to make it known that this could actually happen to aldermen. Actually, 4 people could take an alderman off, impeach, right, as she's mouthing to me, so I could be impeached.
Or the mayor.
Or the mayor, right? So I just wanted to clarify that it's a clarification, and I think it's good that we clarify what our abilities are when it comes to these boards and commissions, so.
Thank you. Glenn?
One more thing, Holly. You were doing a little looking, and I didn't hear the final answer. There are certain boards that we have that this does not apply to by nature of the board. Could you just enumerate those for us?
89080 creates the Board of Adjustment and provides that all members and alternates shall be removable for cause by the appointing authority upon written charges and after public hearing. So that would supersede. That's why we have the language in B saying that it's in the same manner and vote requirement. Also, 89320 creates the Planning Commission, the council, meaning board, may remove any citizen member for cause stated in writing and after a public hearing, and then removal of the board for TCED. The members of the board of directors may be removed by a majority vote of the appointing governing body.
Okay. Any questions, comments from the audience?
I can't say that I'm familiar with committees or commissions. My question is 6 days enough to have them have notification?
For the record, I'm sorry, would you state your name, please?
For the record, I am Beth Schultz.
Thank you, Beth. Just
You're
people
welcome.
are listening.
Okay, sorry. I just don't know how often they meet. Is 6 days enough is my question, or is that following some predetermined timeline is my question?
I might say, Mr. Mayor, that I think, so let's say one of these boards or committees doesn't have a scheduled meeting within that 6 days. If the chairman or the majority of the board wanted to be kept apprised of all this stuff, and if they felt that they wanted to write a letter, or if they felt that they wanted to share their opinion about it, I think that that would give them a decent enough time to convene, whether electronically or come together and figure out if they wanted to have a special meeting to have some kind of response to this. So I think that even though they might not have a meeting scheduled within that time period, it gives them ample time, so.
Thank you. Any other questions or comments from the audience? Any other questions, comments from the board? Hearing none, let's vote. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Ayes have it. Clay, we're on the report section already. And we'll start with Alderman Lucas.
Well, it's been a fun night, even though it was a short one. I just want to take it upon myself to, again, reiterate that being the alderman for Ward 2, representing the downtown area, that I would love for the administration and the board to strongly consider holding off the Main Street streetscape project until next January.
Thank you. Ruth? Clay, you're on stage.
I do have a lot to report about the ABA convention in Philadelphia this last weekend, but the connection here is a little weird, so I think I'll wait till I'm in person in a couple of weeks.
Thank you. Marshall?
Mr. Mayor, I want to give a shout out to Representative Brian Seitz, who isn't here tonight. But last week in this country, we celebrated National Women and Girls in Sports Day in this country. Just so happened on that same day, my Lady Volunteers beat their all-time greatest rival, who hadn't beaten 18 years. But I just want to thank profusely Representative Seitz for all the work that he has done protecting women's sports and making sure that our young girls and the professional adult women that we idolize and look up to can have a level playing field. And I just really appreciate him for all the work on that. So,
Thanks, Marshall. Ralph?
No comment.
Excuse me, Ralph? Glenn?
Not much to report. I just want to say, there's been a lot of talk about the new addition to our downtown, the Full Throttle restaurant. I think everybody's watched that with anticipation as the project progressed. Had the opportunity to go with Beth and a whole bunch of friends there for dinner. It was a nice experience. It's great to see them open. And I know in talking with the other downtown business people, they're very anxious to see what it does in terms of traffic and things downtown. And there's already talk of some stores evaluating whether they're going to extend their hours to sort of take advantage of that crowd flow, which would be great. So I think when that's open and the new Whataburger's open, we've got pretty interesting dynamics happening in the downtown area. Looking forward to it.
Thank you. Kathy? A couple quick things. Many of us were heartbroken during the Super Bowl. And I know as we're going through our mourning, not everybody, as we are going through our mourning period, let's not forget of all the successful accomplishments our chiefs have enjoyed over the years. And it's no time to be fair-weathered fans. I say we stick with them. Other than that, I want to wish everybody happy Valentine's Day. Oh, especially my wife. My wife's right there. Happy Valentine's Day, honey. Aw. You want to come up and say a few words? No. With that, I will entertain a motion to adjourn. We have motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same
Aye.
sign. Opposed, same sign. Ayes have it. Clay Cooper, it is 6:58.
Good job, Mayor.